All right, everybody, welcome into the Alley Oop. I'm your host, Ryan Blackburn. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all the Swifties out there, and the Kansas City Chiefs fans for another Super Bowl victory. It was a fun game yesterday, and many are sad to see the NFL season go, I know. But now the NFL is done, and it's time to catch up on everything in the NBA. Nearly 4 months have passed in the regular season, and there's another 2 months to go during the regular season before the playoffs even begin. There's a lot going on in the NBA this year. There's some new faces in old places, a lot of stuff that's changed across the league so far, and some old stalwarts that aren't having their best years. Here's everything important that you need to know about what's happening in the NBA so far this year to catch you up. Oh, we're going to put a timer up there just so we can talk and have a little bit of interaction in the corner of the screen. It should be fun. The time starts now. The Denver Nuggets received their rings and raised their first ever championship banner back in October. Nuggets fans chanted, "Who's your daddy?" at the Lakers, and nothing this season has really changed anybody's mind about that. The Nuggets still look like elite title contenders and are favorites to come out of the West, even if the West looks a lot better this year. The Milwaukee Bucks traded for Damian Lillard right before training camp, and everything looked great, with Lillard hitting game winners and pointing at his wrist for Dame time. Unfortunately, not everything was kosher with new coach Adrian Griffin, and the Bucks fired him despite a 30-13 record because the defense looked dumb as hell. Doc Rivers was hired directly out of the ESPN booth because he knew some folks in the organization, and things don't look exactly super awesome yet. There's not enough defense, and Rivers just hasn't exactly inspired confidence so far. The Bucks traded Drew Holiday to the Blazers, who then traded him to the Celtics, and they added Kristaps Porzingis in the offseason as well. The Celtics, they have the best team in the league statistically, and there's no close second. They're 41-12 and are lapping the league right now with a run and gun style, switching defense, and more talent than any team in the league. The Celtics may be the best team in the NBA, but they're still going to need to prove that they can execute in May and June before being crowned. Victor Wembanyama made his NBA debut as a rookie, and he is a freak of nature. He's learning how to play with the NBA and be the best version of himself, and it's happening very fast. He looks like the cross between Slenderman and a pterodactyl out there. It's exactly how he plays, preying on the weak and making them look very, very small. And he's pretty easy to do when it's 7'4". Wemby's battles with OKC rookie Chet Holmgren, who's amazing in his own right, are going to be legendary. And even if the battles between San Antonio and OKC, they're probably not going to be for a while. The Thunder surprised many with just how good they are, and the Spurs surprised many with just how bad they are. Jeremy Sohan started a point guard for a while. That was weird. That didn't work. The Spurs are trying new things, perhaps even sandbagging themselves right now so they can be bad. Don't be fooled, though. Wembanyama is the future of the NBA once he has enough teammates that can capably pass to him and put him in positions to succeed. Brandon Miller in Charlotte is figuring things out, and they need him desperately out there because things do not look good. Jaime Jaquez Jr., one of the better rookies in the NBA, helping the Miami Heat survive injuries and poor play from Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero for a while. The Heat are hiding in plain sight and just made the finals last year, and their regular season this year looks kind of similar, though not great. It's not necessarily a good thing either, but playoff Jimmy, can't doubt him, at least not yet. The Sixers traded James Harden early in the season to the LA Clippers, and it looked like both teams were going to win that trade for a while. The Sixers had Tyrese Maxey step into Harden's lead guard role, and Maxey has thrived, proving to be a great second option next to Joel Embiid. Embiid was having a fantastic scoring season, one of the best in NBA history, until he sustained an injury versus the Golden State Warriors in late January. Embiid had surgery, and it looks like he's going to be okay by the playoffs, but the Sixers have struggled, losing 8 of their last 10 games as they struggle to replace their MVP. On the other side, the Clippers are thriving, effectively in a 4-way tie for first place in the West with Denver, Minnesota, and OKC. Kawhi looks like he's back to being Kawhi, and Paul George has been mostly great. Harden has fit in really well as the main distributor, but the biggest deal is that the Clipper stars have played almost every game. They're healthy, and they look great, perhaps the most dangerous challenger to the Nuggets in the West, if they can stay healthy. Those other great West powerhouses, Minnesota and OKC, they're way better than expected. Anthony Edwards has taken the star leap. Rudy Gobert looks like a defensive juggernaut again. Things are a bit weird with Karl Anthony Towns, but they make it work with elite defense. The Thunder are led by SGA, who's a clear MVP candidate once again, and he makes plays over and over and over. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, not J-Will, looks like a great second star, while Chet is everything that they were hoping for and more. The Thunder are dangerous, and that's a young big three forming, just like the old big three back in OKC. Oh, and by the way, the in-season tournament happened. That was a thing. Not sure how great it was, but it was fairly competitive and pretty interesting. The Indiana Pacers made a run, and they look awesome with Tyrese Halliburton, who looks like a superstar point guard at just 23 years old. They were the Cinderella team, and were only stopped by the Los Angeles Lakers, who big brothered them in a lot of ways and played with physicality and poise. How did the Pacers respond? Well, they traded for Pascal Siakam. They got a little bit bigger. They shored up their size and physicality in the front court. The Pacers are still trying to figure some things out, but their team makes a lot more sense now, even after trading Buddy Hield to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Lakers, ever since winning the IST, don't look like the championship contenders many thought they could be. They made the conference finals last year, but that's starting to look more and more like a fluky run than anything. Rob Pelinka and co. made no trades of note at the deadline, and the Lakers are hoping that the current group can turn some things around. D'Lo looks better, Reeves is fine. The Rui Hachimura adjustment wasn't great in the playoffs, but putting him back into the starting unit makes the Lakers a lot more unguardable, and that helps their chances in the short term. The Warriors aren't quite dead yet. They're exactly 500, and Steph Curry continues to be awesome. Draymond Green punched Yusuf Nurkic a little bit ago, and he missed a bunch of games trying to get right. We still aren't sure if he's all the way back to normal, and the Warriors are playing great since his return, though. And Steph, hitting game winners, doing his thing, being the guy that everybody thought he could be. In Draymond's absence, though, Jonathan Kuminga has finally had his breakout after calling out Steve Kerr in the media. Kuminga started, and he's playing great, which is good for Golden State because Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins have been horrible. Is it the end for the Warriors? Probably, but it doesn't mean that they can't make a run and make some challenging things for other top teams in the West. Elsewhere, the Phoenix Suns, they need to stay healthy, and they're figuring some things out with their new big three with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. They're not perfect, and they're not a true contender until they figure out their clutch offense, which is surprisingly bad for as much talent as they have. The Sacramento Kings, New Orleans Pelicans, and Dallas Mavericks are all good, but not great. They clearly have the talent, but are struggling to best use it. The Mavericks, they probably have the highest ceiling with Luka playing out of his mind, and maybe PJ Washington helps them. I'm a bit skeptical. Back to the East. The Cleveland Cavaliers are sneaking up on just about everybody, having won 17 of their last 18 games, even though they've had to survive without Darius Garland and Evan Mobley for a while. They're second in the East, and Donovan Mitchell is going crazy. Still have to prove it in the playoffs, though. Jalen Brunson was called too small by some folks at ESPN, and it appears he took that pretty personal. He's been unbelievable ever since, and the Knicks, ever since trading for OG Anunoby, look like a contender. Can they get the job done? It's going to come down to how much you trust Julius Randle, and I'm still skeptical. The Rockets and Magic have a bright future. They got off to hot starts, but have come back down to earth throughout the season. I'm still skeptical that they will make the right moves long term, but the foundation is clearly there behind Alperen Şengün and Paolo Banchero, respectively. The Chicago Bulls do not have a great future. They're stuck in NBA purgatory with the Atlanta Hawks. Yippee! At least the Brooklyn Nets have Ben Simmons. Kind of. Not really. The Memphis Grizzlies, they were dead in the water, and then Ja Morant came back, and he sustained a season-ending injury. It sucks. It's not great. It's too bad. But the Grizzlies, they'll be back next year. They'll be just fine. The Wizards and the Pistons, not so much. The Pistons have lost 28 games in a row, and they're somehow not the most depressing team on this list. And that's time. Not a bad recap if I don't say so myself. The All-Star break is coming up, then the NBA season starts to get real. I'm not sure which teams will rise to the top, but right now it's kind of hard to bet against Denver and Boston. Maybe the Clippers surprise everyone. Maybe some other team finds a way to stop Jokic. Maybe the Heat or the Knicks can bother Boston enough from the three-point line. But right now, if I had to make a prediction, I'd probably look at a Denver-Boston finals. And that probably favors Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, the best dynamic duo in the NBA when the games actually matter. Who knows what will happen, though? We still have another 4 months to figure some things out.